8 ways to handle people who don't respect you. Modern Stoicism. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Welcome to Stoic Secrets. In today's video, we'll explore 8 ways to handle people who don't respect you, using practical wisdom rooted in Stoic philosophy. Life will inevitably introduce us to individuals who challenge our boundaries and test our patience, but the power lies in how we respond. Will you let others dictate your peace, or will you rise above their behavior and protect your well-being? Share your thoughts in the comments. How do you usually handle disrespect? Do you stand your ground, walk away, or respond with silence? Let's grow together by discussing the lessons from this video. Hit like and subscribe if you're ready to master these Marcus Aurelius Stoicism for personal growth and happiness. Now, let's dive in. 1. Set clear boundaries. The cornerstone of managing people who don't respect you is to set firm boundaries, a principle that modern Stoicism emphasizes as essential for inner peace. As Epictetus wisely said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Setting boundaries isn't about being passive and hoping others will eventually notice and change. It's about clearly communicating what you will and will not tolerate. It requires confidence and self-awareness, knowing that without firm limits, others may continue to overstep and diminish your sense of self-worth. Respect in any relationship, whether professional or personal, does not magically appear through kindness or patience alone. The harsh truth is that people often treat us according to the standards we establish. If you allow disrespect without consequence, you're silently giving permission for that behavior to persist. I've personally fallen into this trap, mistakenly believing that being overly nice and accommodating would earn me respect. But as many of us have experienced, people don't always respect kindness unless it is paired with strength. Modern Stoicism teaches that the key to sovereignty lies in drawing a clear line and standing firmly by it. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "A person's worth is measured by the worth of what they value." If we value respect, we must be willing to demand it calmly but assertively. This doesn't mean reacting with aggression, it means communicating with unwavering clarity. Imagine a colleague who repeatedly interrupts you in meetings. If you let this slide, the behavior will likely continue. Instead, take control by addressing the issue directly. "I value respect in conversations, and I need you to let me finish speaking before you respond." While it might feel awkward at first, discomfort is fleeting. The long-term benefit of establishing boundaries is far greater than the short-term unease of confrontation. Each time we stand up for ourselves, we reinforce our own self-respect, which is the foundation for how others will treat us. The philosophy of Stoicism encourages us to take ownership of our interactions by being assertive, not aggressive, for a calm demeanor reflects mastery over our emotions. When we set boundaries, we are not just protecting our space, we are sending a message that we take ourselves seriously. As Seneca once advised, no man can have a peaceful life who thinks too much about lengthening it. Similarly, if we waste our energy accommodating those who disrespect us, we lose sight of the tranquility we seek. Walking the fine line between assertiveness and aggression ensures that we remain in control of both the situation and our emotional state. Stoic secrets lie in balancing firmness with composure, recognizing that raising our voices or lashing out in anger only weakens our position. Instead, it is through calm but resolute action that we command respect. Boundaries not only define how others interact with us, but also serve as a mirror of our own self-discipline and priorities. People respect those who respect themselves, and nothing communicates self-respect more effectively than standing firm in the face of disrespect. The discomfort of setting boundaries diminishes with practice, while the rewards multiply over time. Imagine telling a close friend who has made a habit of belittling you, "I enjoy spending time with you, but those comments are not something I can tolerate." The moment you enforce a boundary, you begin to reshape the dynamic, ensuring future interactions align with your values. In modern Stoicism, boundaries are not merely barriers to keep people out. They are frameworks that define how we choose to live our lives. When we take ownership of our boundaries, we also take ownership of our emotional well-being. Standing up for ourselves in this way may be challenging at first, but over time, we cultivate inner peace, knowing we are no longer at the mercy of others' actions. Even in situations where confrontation is necessary, whether with a boss who oversteps or a relative who disregards our wishes, our actions must reflect dignity and self-respect. Setting boundaries teaches us a vital lesson. Respect is earned, not demanded, and it begins within. If we wish to command respect from others, we must first demonstrate that we respect ourselves enough to stand by our principles. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce those principles, and with each boundary we enforce, we become more aligned with our true selves. It's worth noting that not every boundary will be welcomed, and that's okay. The goal isn't to please everyone, but to protect our peace and maintain our integrity. As you navigate these challenges, remember, the discomfort of asserting yourself today will lead to the lasting respect you desire tomorrow. The philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca teaches us that life's trials are tests of character, moments where we must decide whether we will allow external forces to dictate our worth or whether we will remain true to the values that define us. This process is not just about managing others, but also about managing yourself. Modern Stoicism encourages us to stay grounded, resisting the urge to react emotionally or aggressively. Instead, we respond with calm, collected clarity, which demonstrates both strength and wisdom. While setting boundaries may not change others' behavior overnight, it will undoubtedly change how you see yourself, and that is where true transformation begins. By taking control of the way others treat you, you lay the foundation for personal growth, happiness, and a life guided by inner peace. 2. Don't engage in power struggles. Here's an essential truth. People who disrespect you often thrive on power dynamics. They know how to push your buttons and lure you into arguments, not to solve anything, but simply to make you lose control. Once you become defensive, angry, or upset, you've given them what they wanted: control over your emotions. Engaging in these struggles drains your energy and distracts from what matters most: your peace of mind. Modern Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and indifferent to disrespect. But this isn't about letting others mistreat you. It's about understanding that you control your reactions, not theirs. Imagine you're in a meeting and a colleague dismisses your idea rudely. It's tempting to respond with sarcasm or demand an apology, but what if instead you paused, took a breath, and responded with calm logic? Saying something like, "I see your point, but here's why my idea holds value," shows composure. If they persist, end the conversation there, knowing your calmness has left them without further ammunition. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every rude comment deserves a response. When you engage with someone who disrespects you, you're giving them free access to your mind. In a competitive world, people will challenge your boundaries just to see how you'll react. But remember, they only have the power you give them by engaging. Disengaging doesn't always mean staying silent. It means saying enough to hold your ground without giving in to drama. A simple, "I'm not going to argue about this," followed by walking away, can be powerful. It preserves your peace and signals that you won't be manipulated. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset builds a strong mental foundation, protecting you from petty provocations. Consider heated online arguments or family gatherings where someone makes a disrespectful comment. Stoicism teaches us that strength lies in mastering ourselves, not others. Walking away from pointless power struggles isn't conceding defeat. It's choosing victory over your emotions and the need to control what others think. Over time, you'll find that these provocations lose their impact. You'll see that your dignity isn't tied to others' opinions, but to how you conduct yourself. Next time someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If not, disengage gracefully, knowing your peace of mind is more valuable than proving a point. As Seneca said, the greatest power is often simple patience. Refusing to engage in power struggles not only preserves your mental energy, but also shows others that their disrespect cannot touch you. This is the core of Stoicism, not reacting to every slight because your worth doesn't depend on anyone's approval. By mastering this mindset, you cultivate an iron mind that stays unbothered by outside noise and focused on what truly matters, your inner peace. 3. Limit your exposure to them. Sometimes, the most effective way to deal with people who don't respect you is to limit your exposure to them. While it's true that some relationships, such as those with colleagues, neighbors, or even family members, are hard to avoid entirely, the good news is that you have the power to control how much of your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth you allow them to consume. Stoicism teaches us that protecting your peace is not selfish. It's essential for a balanced life. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, said Seneca. Often the suffering we experience comes from allowing the wrong people to take up too much space in our minds and lives. If someone continually disrespects you, the answer isn't always confrontation. Instead, the key is learning how to set limits on the energy you invest in those relationships. This shift is subtle but powerful. You don't have to make big announcements or declare to others that you're pulling back. Just quietly reduce your engagement. In modern life, it's easy to feel trapped by obligations. Maybe there's a toxic co-worker whose negativity poisons every conversation. Or perhaps there's a friend who dismisses your opinions and leaves you feeling diminished. At work you might think, I can't avoid them, I have to see them every day. But you can limit interactions to only what is necessary. For example, keep conversations focused on tasks or assignments, maintaining a professional but distant tone. Outside of work, if the relationship isn't necessary for your well-being, consider declining unnecessary social activities or small talk. Instead, reserve your energy for people who uplift you and situations that align with your values. Let me tell you a story to highlight the importance of limiting exposure to toxic individuals. A friend of mine, David, used to attend weekly family gatherings where one relative always belittled his career choices, making passive-aggressive comments about his lifestyle. For years, David tolerated it, thinking that family is family and that confronting the behavior would only stir up more trouble. But over time, the constant disrespect began to wear on him. He realized that his Sunday afternoons, once something to look forward to, had become a source of dread. David decided to apply a simple rule: if a relationship drains more energy than it gives, it's time to limit it. He quietly reduced his attendance, choosing instead to show up only for important family events. With less exposure to the toxic relative, David felt lighter and more at peace. His example shows how powerful it can be to set quiet limits on relationships that no longer serve you. The beauty of this Stoic lesson is that you don't have to justify or explain your decisions to anyone. People who thrive on conflict or disrespect often expect a response, and by not giving it to them, you rob them of the power they seek. You're not ghosting or cutting ties entirely. Instead, you're taking control of how much space they occupy in your life. It's like adjusting the volume on a radio. Just because the noise is there doesn't mean you have to keep it turned up. Protecting your emotional space is not about running away. It's about preserving your mental clarity so you can focus on what truly matters. Every moment spent with someone who disrespects you is a moment taken away from those who respect, encourage, and uplift you. The more you limit your exposure to negativity, the more room you create for positive connections to flourish. Are there people in your life who drain you more than they support you? What might happen if you gave yourself permission to pull back, even just a little? Limiting exposure to toxic individuals isn't about avoiding conflict or being cold. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are finite resources. The peace you protect today is the strength you'll carry into tomorrow. As Seneca reminds us, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Life is too short to waste on relationships that diminish your spirit. Here's the real insight. By setting these quiet boundaries, you not only protect yourself, but also model self-respect for others. It's a subtle way of saying, "This is how I choose to be treated." In the end, limiting your exposure to disrespectful people is not just a strategy, it's an act of self-care. By thoughtfully choosing where and with whom you spend your energy, you reclaim control over your life and protect your inner peace. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control how others behave, but we can control how we respond. Sometimes the best response isn't confrontation, but simply creating distance. It's not about closing doors entirely, but about deciding which ones are worth walking through. So the next time you find yourself drained by someone's behavior, ask yourself, is this relationship worth my peace? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to pull back gracefully and make room for the relationships that truly matter. I truly appreciate you spending time with us today at Stoic Secrets. If you found value in this video, I encourage you to leave a comment and share your thoughts, whether it's your personal experience, a takeaway, or even a simple "I am Stoic." Every bit of interaction helps grow this community and motivates us to bring you even more inspiring content. If you haven't yet, tap that subscribe button and enable notifications so you'll be the first to know when new videos drop. Let's keep growing together, step by step, with Stoic lessons guiding the way. 4. Respond with silence. Not every battle deserves your energy, and not every rude comment merits a response. Silence can be one of the most powerful responses, rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy. Often those who disrespect you are attempting to provoke a reaction, hoping to gain some control over your emotions. By choosing silence, you deny them this satisfaction, leaving them unable to access your peace of mind. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Responding with silence shows that you have risen above the negativity, communicating strength, self-discipline, and a refusal to engage in meaningless conflict. Silence in this context isn't about weakness. It's about making a deliberate choice to show mastery over yourself. You aren't avoiding the issue, you're preventing it from controlling you. This simple act shifts the power back to you, leaving others to sit with the discomfort of their own words. Picture a situation familiar to many, a heated discussion with a colleague or family member where someone makes a rude comment to provoke you. In that moment, the urge to defend yourself might be intense, but instead, if you pause, breathe, and let the moment pass in silence, your restraint speaks volumes. It signals that you're not willing to lower yourself to their level, that your peace is more valuable than winning an argument. This idea aligns with Epicurus's teaching. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing silence, you break the cycle of conflict and show that others don't dictate your behavior. Today, silence can be a powerful tool for maintaining peace, especially in a world where quick responses and public arguments are common. Whether it's a disrespectful remark from a co-worker or a heated social media comment, your silence allows you to retain control over your energy and avoid being drawn into unnecessary battles. Silence doesn't just protect you from impulsive responses, it also allows you to reflect. In moments of anger, impulsive words can quickly escalate situations. Instead, by pausing, you create a space to see the situation clearly, aligning with the Stoic value of inner stillness. As Seneca put it, better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. This moment of silence may be unsettling to the person expecting a reaction, as they are forced to confront their own words. Your silence holds a mirror up to them, often leading them to reflect on their actions in ways an argument never could. In practicing this Stoic principle, remember, silence is not avoidance or passivity. It's about choosing not to let disrespect control you. There's a time to speak up and set boundaries, but there's also wisdom in recognizing when silence is your strongest response. Modern Stoicism teaches that peace doesn't come from controlling others, but from mastering yourself. Through silence, you practice this mastery, and in doing so, you gain clarity, cultivate more peaceful relationships, and strengthen your inner resilience. 5. Don't take it personally. It's natural to feel hurt or offended when someone disrespects you, especially when their words or actions seem to target your character, abilities, or choices. However, one of the most powerful Stoic principles to apply in such situations is to not take it personally. As challenging as it may be in the moment, the disrespectful behavior of others often reveals more about their own frustrations, insecurities, and unresolved struggles than it does about you. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, reminds us, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This perspective invites us to recognize that the disrespect you encounter is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a reflection of the other person's inner turmoil. Your ability to separate their behavior from your value is where your real strength lies. Consider a time when someone's harsh words left you doubting yourself. Perhaps it was a snide remark from a colleague about your performance, or a passive-aggressive comment from a friend regarding your lifestyle choices. It's easy to fall into the trap of over-analyzing these interactions, replaying them in your mind, and asking yourself what you did wrong. This cycle can weigh heavily on us, making us feel responsible for how others treat us. Yet modern Stoicism teaches us that our peace of mind does not depend on the opinions of others. Once you realize that their behavior is not your burden to carry, an enormous weight lifts off your shoulders. Their rudeness, dismissiveness, or negativity stems from their own insecurities. When you stop internalizing their disrespect, you reclaim your emotional freedom. This shift in mindset is key. Others do not determine your worth. You do. Their actions belong to them, while your peace depends on whether you allow their behavior to influence your inner state. When someone disrespects you, ask yourself, is their opinion really about me, or is it about something unresolved in them? More often than not, you'll discover that their behavior has little to do with you. They might be grappling with personal frustrations, workplace stress, or a fear of failure. Whatever it is, it's their weight to carry, not yours. Understanding this allows you to develop an equanimous mind, one that remains steady and unshaken, even amidst external negativity. By choosing not to take things personally, you unlock a powerful freedom. You stop wasting time and energy on things beyond your control, aligning perfectly with Stoic principles. Epicurus, another esteemed Stoic philosopher, reminds us that It is not things that upset us, but our judgment about things. The way you interpret someone's behavior is what gives it meaning. When you choose to view their disrespect as a reflection of their struggles rather than a reflection of your worth, the emotional sting fades, leaving you with clarity and peace. This doesn't mean you should ignore all feedback. Sometimes constructive criticism can provide valuable insights. However, it does mean you must filter out the noise that doesn't serve you. Not every rude comment or harsh remark deserves your attention. One of the most valuable Stoic lessons is learning how to let go of what doesn't belong to you. 6. Walk away when necessary. Sometimes the most powerful and courageous thing you can do is to walk away. This is one of the hardest yet most essential Stoic lessons to learn. Disrespect, if tolerated for too long, doesn't just hurt you in the moment, it slowly erodes your self-esteem and undermines your mental health. Stoicism teaches us to guard our well-being like a fortress, choosing carefully what we allow into our lives and minds. If you remain in environments filled with toxicity, negativity, and disrespect, those experiences start to shape your mind, leaving you restless, unhappy, and disconnected from the person you truly want to be. Walking away is not a sign of weakness, it's a declaration of self-worth. It's a way of saying to the world, and to yourself, I will not allow anyone to treat me this way. This principle applies to many areas of life. Maybe you find yourself in a friendship where the other person constantly undermines you, or in a workplace where your contributions are ignored and disrespect is the norm. You might think, but I've known them for so long, or I need this job. What choice do I have? These thoughts are natural, but they can also trap you in situations that no longer serve your growth. Walking away doesn't mean giving up, it means choosing yourself. It's not about making a grand exit or burning bridges, but about quietly and intentionally removing yourself from situations that diminish your sense of peace. This could mean ending a toxic friendship, setting firm boundaries with difficult family members, or even walking out of a conversation when it becomes clear that no respect will be given. In each case, the act of walking away is a victory, a choice to protect your dignity and prioritize your mental health. Let me share a story that illustrates this point. A friend of mine named James spent years working at a company where his boss regularly disrespected him in front of colleagues. No matter how hard James tried to prove himself, his efforts were either ignored or ridiculed. He thought that if he just kept his head down and worked harder, things would eventually improve. But they didn't. Every day, the constant disrespect wore him down until he began doubting his abilities and questioning his value. One day, after a particularly demeaning comment from his boss, James realized something important. He couldn't control how others treated him, but he could control whether or not he stayed. So, he chose to leave the company, not in anger, but with quiet confidence. It wasn't easy, but the moment he walked away, he felt a weight lift off his shoulders. That act of leaving was his way of reclaiming his self-worth, and he later found a new job where he was valued and respected. The decision to walk away wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of a better one. So let me ask you, are there situations in your life that are draining your spirit because you're afraid to walk away? Perhaps it's a relationship that no longer aligns with your values, or a job where disrespect has become the norm. The truth is, not every situation can be fixed, and not every battle needs to be fought. Sometimes, the most effective response is to step away from the conflict altogether. This isn't about running away from challenges. It's about recognizing when the fight isn't worth your peace. As Seneca once said, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." Life is too short to spend in places that rob you of your joy and self-respect. Walking away is a statement of power, a way of saying, I value myself too much to stay where I'm not respected. It's also important to understand that walking away doesn't always mean physically leaving a place. Sometimes it's about mentally and emotionally disengaging from people or situations that don't deserve your energy. Maybe you can't leave a job right away, but you can start setting emotional boundaries, refusing to take insults personally, and detaching from toxic dynamics. Or perhaps you can't cut ties with a family member, but you can choose to limit your interactions and refuse to engage in conversations that leave you feeling drained. In each case, the act of walking away, whether physical or emotional, represents a commitment to protecting your peace and building an iron mind that is resilient to negativity. Walking away also sends a clear message to others about how you expect to be treated. When you choose not to tolerate disrespect, you set a standard for future interactions. People begin to understand that your time and energy are valuable and that you won't waste them on relationships or situations that don't align with your values. This is one of the core Stoic rules, knowing when to engage and when to step back. As Marcus Aurelius teaches us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. Walking away from disrespect is not just about removing yourself from negativity. It's about creating space for better things to enter your life. It's about choosing growth, peace, and self-respect over conflict and unnecessary struggle. The act of walking away is a deeply empowering Stoic lesson. It reminds you that you are not trapped by anyone else's behavior. You always have the freedom to choose yourself. Walking away isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of what no longer serves you. It's a way of saying, I am not defined by how others treat me, but by how I treat myself. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where disrespect is the norm, ask yourself, is staying here worth my peace? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to walk away, not with anger, but with quiet confidence. Choosing yourself is not just a decision, it's a declaration of your worth. And when you walk away from what diminishes you, you make room for the people, opportunities and experiences that align with your values and bring you joy. That, in itself, is one of the greatest victories you can achieve. 7. Surround yourself with supportive people. Dealing with disrespect is emotionally exhausting, draining not just your energy, but also your sense of self-worth. That's why one of the most important Stoic lessons is to surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, those who remind you of your inherent value, no matter what negativity you encounter. Modern Stoicism teaches us that while we may not control how others treat us, we can control the company we keep. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and those thoughts are often influenced by the people around us. When you are constantly exposed to disrespect or negativity, it becomes easy to internalize that treatment and start questioning your worth. However, when you intentionally build a circle of supportive people, you create a buffer, a source of strength that helps you navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. A strong support system acts as a mirror, reflecting your worth back to you when the world tries to make you feel small. Think about the times in your life when you felt drained by toxic environments, maybe at work with a demanding boss or in a personal relationship where disrespect was the norm. During those moments, the people you surround yourself with can either pull you down or lift you up. I remember a close friend, Paul, who stayed in a toxic job far too long because he thought he had no other option. His boss constantly belittled his efforts, and over time, Paul began to believe the problem was with him. It wasn't until he opened up to his circle of supportive friends, those who knew his value, that he realized he didn't have to stay. Their encouragement gave him the courage to leave and pursue a healthier path. This is the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. They see your worth when you struggle to see it yourself. This principle aligns with the heart of modern Stoicism, focusing on what you can control. You can't control the disrespect of others, but you can control how much time and energy you spend with those who uplift you. Stoic principles teach that inner strength is cultivated by aligning your thoughts and actions with virtue, and being in the presence of supportive people helps you stay on that path. It's not just about avoiding negativity, but about actively choosing relationships that nourish your growth. Whether it's family members who remind you of your strengths, friends who encourage you to pursue your goals, or mentors who offer wisdom during tough times. These relationships serve as anchors, keeping you grounded when life feels overwhelming. In modern life, where many of us juggle demanding jobs, family obligations, and personal challenges, it can be easy to neglect the importance of community. But just as iron sharpens iron, you need people in your life who challenge you to grow and help you build resilience against negativity. These relationships aren't just about comfort. They provide the perspective you need to walk away from toxic situations with confidence. A powerful lesson in Stoic philosophy is that your value isn't tied to how others treat you, but to how you treat yourself. One way to treat yourself with respect is by choosing companions who respect and uplift you. When you make space for these relationships, you cultivate an environment where you can thrive. It's also important to note that surrounding yourself with supportive people doesn't just mean seeking comfort when things go wrong. It means building meaningful connections during the good times too. The people in your circle should challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable to your values, helping you stay true to your principles even when life gets tough. As Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. These relationships are investments in your mental and emotional well-being, shaping not only how you see yourself, but also how you respond to the challenges of life. Just as they support you, you too have the opportunity to offer encouragement to those in your circle, reinforcing the kind of relationships that build mutual respect and trust. When you're surrounded by people who care about your well-being, you develop the inner strength to walk away from disrespect without guilt or hesitation. You stop feeling the need to prove your worth to those who cannot see it. The knowledge that you are supported allows you to move through life with greater confidence, understanding that your value is not determined by others' opinions. This is one of the core Stoic rules. Your peace comes from within, but a strong support system helps you maintain that peace. In the words of Epictetus, "He who associates with fools will learn nothing." By choosing to spend your time with those who align with your values, you protect your inner peace and cultivate the strength to face life's challenges. It's worth reflecting on this because your peace of mind depends on the quality of the relationships you nurture. Take a moment to evaluate your circle. Are there connections that need to be strengthened, or perhaps some that need to be released? Walking away from toxic people becomes easier when you know you are surrounded by those who care for you. Remember, the goal is not to isolate yourself, but to build meaningful connections that uplift you and align with the kind of life you want to live. Modern Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from within, but the right people can help you uncover that strength when you feel lost. Your value is not defined by others' treatment of you, but by the way you treat yourself and the company you keep. By surrounding yourself with people who encourage, inspire, and respect you, you lay the foundation for a life built on peace and resilience. When you find yourself facing disrespect, you'll know that you have a circle of support to lean on. A reminder that you are never alone in your journey toward inner peace and personal growth. Surround yourself with those who see your worth, and you'll find it easier to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't. This is one of the key Stoic secrets. Choose your companions wisely, and you'll build the strength to live according to your values, no matter what life throws your way. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a quick comment below with your Stoic mindset if today's video gave you something valuable to think about. Your engagement helps strengthen this community and inspires others on their journey toward inner peace. 8 Respect start from within. How others treat you speaks volumes about their character, but how you respond reveals your level of self-respect. This idea is at the heart of modern Stoicism and one of the most powerful Stoic principles. Respect starts from within. The way you handle disrespect, whether you choose to set firm boundaries, walk away from toxic situations, or respond with silence, demonstrates how much you value yourself. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The way you think about yourself and the standards you set in your interactions determine how others will treat you. You deserve kindness and dignity, but it's your responsibility to teach others how to treat you by showing them what you will and will not tolerate. In today's fast-paced world, where disrespect can come from colleagues, friends, or even family, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that if someone mistreats you, it reflects something lacking in you. But Stoic rules teach us to detach from this mindset. The behavior of others reflects their inner struggles, not your worth. The real question is not whether others will respect you, but whether you respect yourself enough to enforce your standards. How often do we accept disrespect simply to avoid conflict? Maybe it's staying silent when a friend makes a hurtful joke at your expense, or tolerating rude behavior from a colleague because it's not worth making a fuss. But every time you allow someone to treat you poorly without consequence, you lower the standard for how you deserve to be treated. True self-respect requires action. Boundaries must be set, not just wished for. I once knew someone named Stephen, a well-respected manager who struggled with a difficult team member. This person was constantly undermining Stephen's authority, interrupting him in meetings, and spreading negativity within the team. For months, Stephen put up with it, thinking that his kindness and patience would eventually win the person over. But as time went on, the disrespect only grew, and Stephen found himself increasingly stressed and frustrated. Finally, Stephen decided to apply one of the most important Stoic lessons. He stopped waiting for respect to come from the outside and began to create it from within. He calmly called a meeting, set clear boundaries, and communicated the consequences of continued disrespect. It wasn't about anger or revenge, it was about protecting his peace and well-being. The moment Stephen took control, the dynamic shifted. The difficult team member adjusted their behavior, and Stephen walked away from the situation with his dignity intact, having set a new standard for how he expected to be treated. This story highlights a truth that applies to all of us. The way others treat you is not in your control, but how you respond always is. Modern Stoicism reminds us that we have the power to take control of our lives by defining what is acceptable in our relationships. If someone cannot meet your standard of respect, it is not a reflection of your value. It is an invitation to enforce your boundaries or walk away. When you take control of how others treat you, you reclaim your peace of mind and free yourself from the burden of trying to earn respect from the wrong people. As Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastering yourself means refusing to tolerate anything that diminishes your sense of worth. It's also essential to understand that self-respect is not just about setting boundaries with others, it's about setting boundaries with yourself. This means learning to say no to thoughts and behaviors that don't align with the person you aspire to be. If you find yourself constantly seeking approval or allowing others' opinions to dictate your sense of worth, it's time to realign with your values. An iron mind built on Stoic principles is one that stands firm in the face of disrespect and knows that worthiness isn't something you negotiate with others. It's something you cultivate within. When you respect yourself deeply, you naturally attract relationships that reflect that same respect. Modern Stoicism teaches us that our peace is non-negotiable, and it's our responsibility to defend it. Whether you choose to set a boundary, respond with calm silence, or walk away altogether, the power lies in knowing that your worth is not defined by how others treat you. It's defined by how you treat yourself. If someone cannot offer you kindness and respect, the most respectful thing you can do is walk away and protect your peace. This isn't about anger or resentment. It's about choosing to live according to your values, free from the control of others' behavior. In the end, the lesson is simple but profound. Respect begins within. When you carry yourself with dignity, you set the standard for how others will treat you, and those who cannot meet that standard will naturally fall away. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength to demand respect, the courage to walk away when necessary, and the wisdom to know that your worth is not up for debate all come from within. This is the essence of Stoic principles. Taking control of your inner world so that no outside force can disturb your peace. When you live with self-respect, guided by Stoic rules, you'll find that the relationships and situations that no longer serve you naturally begin to fade away, leaving space for people and experiences that align with your values. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and explore these Stoic principles with us. Learning how to handle people who don't respect you isn't always easy, but by applying these insights, whether it's setting boundaries, responding with silence, walking away when needed, or surrounding yourself with supportive people, you take back control of your peace and well-being. Modern Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from mastering ourselves, and every small action you take to protect your dignity is a step toward building that inner strength. Remember, your value isn't tied to how others treat you. It's determined by how you treat yourself. The way you carry yourself and the standards you set show the world that you are worthy of respect. Over time, people will treat you according to those standards. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to share it with someone who might need these reminders. We all encounter disrespect at some point, and these lessons can help us rise above it. Let's build a community of strength, respect, and resilience where we lift each other up and live by the Stoic rules of peace and self-mastery. Your journey towards self-respect is one worth sharing, and by spreading these ideas, you become part of something bigger, a movement toward living a more intentional, peaceful life. If these messages resonate with you, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Marcus Aurelius Stoicism for more insights on applying modern Stoicism to everyday life. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss our next video, where we'll continue exploring Stoic lessons to help you build an iron mind and face life's challenges with clarity and confidence.